All right, everyone, welcome to the Investor Evolution podcast. I'm your host, Kimberly Hoyt, and today we have a special treat for you. You've seen her before, Miss Karianne Klomp. She is back. And today we are going to talk about a couple of different things. We're going to talk about capital raising, we're going to talk about consistency, and we're going to talk about mindset. Karianne, welcome. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited to talk all the things.
All the things. We've got all the things to talk about. We should have been recording before we started because we've already talked about all the things, but let's talk
Right.
about, so last time we had you on, we talked about your role as a connector and that part of your business. Tell me how it's beginning to evolve into this capital raise space. Let's talk about that.
So it's kind of a natural evolution for a lot of people, but I would say for me, who has the gold controls everything. As a capital raiser, I've grown into this where I want to know, basically I'm a control freak, so I want to know all aspects of everything. And so if I'm able to capital raise for something, then I get to set the rules. Who has the gold sets the rules. I'm the person who has the gold. I have been increasing my PMLs. I have certain protocols that I've developed in different groups I'm in. And like last night, for instance, I was like, I'm going to need some new people. Went through, did a whole campaign with different texts and email things that I've done. And I have 53 new emails to add to my list today. So I create a lot of work for myself, is what I do. Yeah, but capital raising is, I think, at its core, can be very tricky. It's not spoken about a lot because there's a lot of ins and outs with SEC regulations, with how you post, what you post, how you say it, what you say. And so while it can be very cool and exciting, you get to meet new people, it is also frustrating as a control freak because no matter how hard you work, you may not have people do what you want.
Right.
So what the way I am raising right now is I'm a connector by nature, not like a real estate connector. I am just the person who says, "Oh, you have this and I have this." And I know someone who does that. I spoke to a new person today and he said, "I have hospitality experience." I'm like, "One of my partners just bought a hotel. We're under contract. We could talk to you. And then I'm going to go to Chicago in a few weeks and I'm meeting with someone else who just bought a hotel. And me and one of my other partners, we want to buy a hotel in Puerto Rico." And he goes, "How do you know everybody?"
Right.
This is who I am. I can't turn it off. I'm so sorry. Just,
It's your superpower. It's perfect.
it's just where I'm like, what about this? What about this? What about this? But where capital raising can lead you is to have some more clout in deals, which is great, but there is also a lot more responsibility, not only to your lenders, but also to the borrowers and what that means. So there has to be, I would say, a much stronger relationship. When you're just connecting, especially in the sub 2 space or other real estate mastermind groups.
Yeah.
It's pretty, "Oh, well, you have this, I introduce you, and I'm kind of out." That's kind of the way it's portrayed in some of these. And so taking it outside of those, especially to people who are your family, your neighbors, people in your church, people in your neighborhood, you have to really rely on the relationship because it's not about the deal at that point. I can have someone who will invest in the worst deal in the world if I say, "No, I feel like this is really good." So it's one of those, with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly.
And there is a lot of responsibility. So it's a hard job because it's easy to get someone to get to know you and like you. There's a lot of friendly people out there. People like me. Great. Do they like you or trust you so much that they'll give you $100,000? Probably not.
Yeah.
Like there's a line in the sand. "Yeah, I like you. I'll go to lunch with you." "Oh, give me my money." No, no. So that takes time. And I think that's one of the things that doesn't get spoken enough, is that you can have borrowers say like, oh yeah, I just need $100,000. And I love how they say it like, okay, let me just grab my pocket. Hold on. It's in my other purse.
Right.
Just go grab my 100. Let me get it. But we all have to realize that this lender that I'm bringing in is someone that I have been building a relationship with for, in some cases, years.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the real estate space, we talk about know, like, and trust. They know, like, and trust me as their neighbor, as someone who taught Sunday school to their child, as someone who, whatever. I was their personal trainer. Doesn't matter. The fact is they trust me. And so there's a lot of responsibility there to say, especially for new investors.
Mm-hmm.
They have money. They don't know what to do with it. It's not only our job to educate them, at least for me.
Yeah.
It is my job, my responsibility. That's not like you have to, but for me, I do. Mm-hmm. Because I want them to know what they're getting into. And there's always disclaimers, oh, I'm not a tax professional. I'm not a lawyer, which clears you legally. Mm-hmm. But for me, it's much more ethically and morally.
Yeah.
And so I need to give them enough to know a good from a bad deal. And also, we have to check ourselves as capital raisers. Mm-hmm. Because if we put them in something that we're not confident in, or that we haven't done our due diligence on or our underwriting on, and it's a lot of work. If we give them that and it goes wrong, will you be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, I did everything I could?
Yeah.
And that for me is the standard. Yeah. Because I will not. I had 7 deals emailed me today, and I don't know the borrowers. Mm-hmm. And I don't raise for people that I don't know. I've also recently hired a PI.
Really?
Which, really, because in my head, I picture Magnum. I've hired a PI, which would be great. I mean, honestly, if I could get Tom Selleck.
Be fantastic.
Yeah. I put all my borrowers. I do a cursory background check, credit check, criminal check. Mm-hmm. And I like for that. Is that a little above and beyond? It might sound a little crazy. I am a little OCD. Maybe that's a thing. Maybe. I would rather know that I did a little too much and said, oh, and by the way, and his wife's name is this and her favorite. I would rather know all the extra stuff.
Yeah.
Than get to the end and not know enough.
Yeah. No, I think that's 100%. And I think that's where, whether you're a connector or a capital raiser, whichever spectrum of that you land on, at the end of the day, your responsibility is to take care of those lenders. And, maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong, but a lot of times those lenders still look to you as that person of authority. So knowing all the information, because if you catch something on the front end and be like, we just saved you millions of dollars, like,
right,
then that know, like, and trust factor just went up 110%, right? And
right.
Being able to protect those lenders from something that could be potentially disastrous, and knowing that up front, and we all know deals can go south, and right. It's nobody's fault. It just happens. And when you have all the due diligence on the front end to know, like, this borrower is solid, this deal is solid, then, at the end of the day, you did everything you could. And, something just happened. You opened the wall and, oh man, we didn't expect that. You know what I mean? So right. I think it's very important.
And as long as you are prepared for that, yeah. And you prepare them for that.
Yeah.
Like for me personally right now, time in market right now, we're in the beginning of August. I'm not funding fix and flips. Absolutely not. Those things are going to be going on market. Like I have a few ones that they're saying 90 days. Great. That puts us in November in an election year. Winter Thanksgiving, Christmas. Nope.
Yep.
And maybe it'll sell. What if they're in a great market? There are outliers.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm not putting my money on an outlier. And I'm not putting my lender's money on the hope that it's an outlier, because there are too many things that can go wrong. And so if there's metrics that we can look at, like time of year, like political things, like all of these different things that are happening right now, and especially inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mortgage rates have come down a bit.
Right.
Everyone's thrilled because they've come down this much. That doesn't make things affordable.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
It's a great indicator-ish.
Yeah.
But it's one of the tools that the Fed can use to make us feel better about it.
Right. Right.
It doesn't indicate anything until it happens. I don't care what we're projecting it's going to come down a point in September. I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when we get to September, if it comes down a point, then we can talk.
Right.
Until then, I am like a mama bear with my lenders.
Yeah.
I just won't. I won't put them in jeopardy for anything, because it's not just their money. This is something that could make or break their retirement, their kids' college, everything they do from here on out. And these are also people who could work with me for years. They could bring me the people who know, like, and trust them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm blessed to be at that point where I don't have just random calls with people. It's so-and-so referred me. And so at that point, like, I've had tons of calls with hundreds of great people, but not many of them are in the sphere where it's like, you're great and I can send you this person, you should do this and go here, and I know them and da 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 da. But there's not really any place where our paths are going to cross at this point. But with that trust of me and the people that then trust me to bring in their family and friends, then the pressure's like triple. Because they've not only put their money in with you. I have someone right now who was referred to me by a friend who has put her money in a deal with me. They went to lunch. She tells her friend, you should get on the phone with Karianne. You're interested in investing. So I get on the phone with her. Cute little girl. I mean, she's not a little girl. She's 30.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm 40. She's a girl. And she's a lawyer. And so we get to the end of our call and she goes, do you have anything bigger? And I'm like, well, you told me you had like 60 to 80. So what do you mean bigger? Because my biggest deal right now is like 1.5. That feels bigger. She said, well, my dad has a lot of money and he wants to sell things, but he needs to invest it somewhere. Do you have anything bigger? And she gets all like weird and quiet about it. And I was like, what is bigger?
Yeah.
And she goes, like 10 to 40 million? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Do you want to get on a call with him? Yes, ma'am. But this is someone who's now bringing their dad. And it's not just my friend Jackie brings my friend Amanda, who brings her dad. People who are deca millionaires don't hang out with people who make $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
So, but if you don't treat people right at the core.
Yeah.
I treated Jackie. I met her. She's my friend. And she's now referring people who refer. So it's not about the deal.
Yeah.
For capital raising. It's not like, yeah, you want a solid deal. Great. That's 10% of what you need. You need that relationship.
Yeah.
And so there are people who can get your money faster in some cases, because they'll go in and they'll be like, hey, here's what I do. Here's who I am. I need 100K. And that's their way. And it's cool for them. But in that case, it's about the deal. So if the deal goes south, you don't have a relationship to back up on. It's just, this deal went south. I'm never lending with you again. And then what? And then you start over. For me, it's how can we make it right? What can we do? Here's all the protections and things we put into place to secure this. And, we have you on all these different documents. we've done all we can. If it goes south, then they know that I did all I could and that I will continue to do all I can. And that's all about trust and communication.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, we have that saying, loan to own. So there's some of those deals, like you said, where it's the deal itself makes sense. And if something goes wrong, you're going to be okay because you've structured it in a way you're going to take over that asset, you know, or you have enough collateral against it that, you know, you're going to be okay. But sometimes, like you're saying, sometimes the jockey on that horse can do amazing things. And it may not, maybe it's not the best deal, or maybe it's a great deal, but they can make it even better because of their experience and what they've done. And so, you know, yes, you need the good deal underneath, but you know, betting on the jockey is also hugely important for sure. So, as you've kind of shifted into this role, have you found lanes that you want to be in and things that you want to focus on? How is that looking for you?
Because once again, slightly control freak-ish, I just want to know how everything works. So, but it plays well because if I know how everything works, I know how to fix everything before it becomes a big deal. Because of the way I'm structuring, I do not work with just borrowers or deals that are brought to me. I work almost exclusively with partners who I am getting, and I am raising for a deal that we are doing together. So I have a partner that we are doing midterm rentals and co-living. She already has built that, but to scale, she needs capital. Great. I will bring you capital. We also have a great time together and have very similar morals and values and how we want to run things, but we're focused on affordable housing to where it's like, and that's where like the co-living comes in, or building smaller homes. We're looking at development in a couple years, like ground up a development in Indiana, specifically suburbs of Indianapolis, where it's cheaper to live, but it's still climbing. So if we can do multi-generational layouts, so you can have a mother-in-law suite or something for like college age kids, I really think we're going to see a shift where, especially as we have, other nationalities just becoming more prevalent in the country, they don't put their folks who are their parents or grandparents in a home.
Right.
They take care of them.
Right.
And with inflation and cost of living being where it is, that's something we need to be looking at. And so if we can build homes that are affordable and also offer those kinds of opportunities, then that's where we're focusing with that.
Okay.
I'm also partnered with a land developer and flipper in Texas who he's been working for 8 years. And once again, he's making good money. He has a big team. He does not have time to go out and to talk to people about raising capital.
Right.
So he came to me. So we're working on things there. And I will flip land. I don't want to flip houses, but I will flip land because land doesn't have foundation issues. Land, you don't dig 2 feet down and then be like, oh no, there's a volcano. Who knew? You know.
Right.
So I'm working with him, and then I have a partner that we're in process of looking at a few different multifamily kinds of things.
Perfect.
So I'm raising almost exclusively for them. Occasionally I'll have someone that I've worked with in the past that sees my value and I want to help. And that's just something I can't get away from either, where it's like, let me just help.
Right.
And it happens. But if I can help people who truly do have a good deal and are a solid borrower and they get through my vetting process and through my PI, and I have time, then yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Well, and I like that you have kind of these different realms. So then you have opportunities for different lenders, right? Because you're going to have some lenders that are like, I want multifamily. Like that's where I want to be. Some people that come in and like, how can I help? I want to use my money for good. Co-living, fantastic. That's amazing. Some people are like, I just want it back faster. Flipping land, perfect. You know, whatever it is, you've got kind of a couple of different ways that you can help different types of investors. So I think that is,
and that's why I did it. Like I have one, and I'm not partnered with him, but I mean, he has extensive experience, and I've talked to like 4 of his PMLs, and they've all done over 10 deals with him.
Okay.
So he's very solid, and he has the portfolio where if something went wrong, it's like, oh, this isn't even in jeopardy. I already own the house. So he's converting long-term rentals that are cash flowing into midterm rentals. He needs like $25,000 for a year, but he's giving you monthly interest payments plus quarterly on your principal. So by the end of the year, on your, let's say, like 25,000, you've gotten every quarter, you've gotten like 6,000 on your principal, and you've gotten like $400 a month in interest. Yeah. And he has someone that he hired to convert it. And the biggest risk is he may not make as much money as he thought, and now he has furniture he can't use. Now you're gonna have to store that. Sorry, but it still cash flows as a long term. Yeah. So it's super low risk. It's a low amount of money. And for a lot of people, and it just depends on their strategy, a lot of people get nervous if they're not getting a monthly check. Yeah. So even though on those things, like if you think what's 5-6% of $25,000, like, hey, you get $1,200. But it's not about me. It's about, this is something that can help a new investor dip their toe in. Yeah. Very low risk. I can, show them pictures. I've had a dozen conversations with this borrower. Yeah. I know his wife. I know his girls. I know his administrative assistant. I know when she got married. But it's a way for them to just see what it is and see the process. Yeah. Because it's all proof of concept. Right. So if I can get them in something that doesn't make a lot of money for me at all, or even really for them, because it's just $25,000, but they're making $400 a month. I have a single mom friend who's in one of those deals. Yeah. For me, I'd be like, it's $400 a month. For her, she can pay for braces for her 15-year-old. And that's literally what she's doing. She's like, $250 of that is paying for braces. Yeah. And she's thrilled. Yeah. She's thrilled because for a single mom, that's a huge stressor. Absolutely. So she's paying for braces, and she's like, I'm going out to lunch 2 to 3 times a month now with my friends.
Oh, I love it.
And I love that. And it's about giving her something and also just giving her confidence. Yeah. And so like I've helped to found a women's Trailblazers group. It's all for women investors. And one of our big things is, how do we help women feel more in control of their finances and of their future? Yes. Because other than investors, even women who they have their own job or their husband makes a lot of money, they think they're financially secure. But if something happened to their husband, they would have no idea where the money is, how to get it, or what to do with it. Mm-hmm. So now, if we're able to give them just enough knowledge where it's like, just with this, you're paying for braces, going to lunch and getting a monthly massage. Like, that's a win. And giving them the confidence to then do more, not just as investors, but maybe at that point they're like, oh, I took charge this way. What if I find other ways to take charge? Yeah. What if I join the Trailblazers group? What if I make other friends? And so it's really building women as people. Yeah, I love it. Like in all ways. And then they'll be stronger investors. Yes.
Yeah, and I love that. So I love that you have this mission and this impact that you're looking to just increase, right? And how have you found ways, and I think we talked a little bit about your story last time and kind of where you came from. And I think that's probably where your heart is and why you're serving in that way is because, you're helping those who are in positions that you were in. I love that you're turning around and helping someone else, through that situation. How has mindset been a key role for you as you've moved forward, as you pivoted in your business? What are the things that you focus on in order to, not hit those slumps, right? And this is where that consistency comes through. We all have those times where things just aren't working like they should, or like we think they should, or like we're working like they should. How do you keep that attitude so that you're moving forward regardless of the setbacks?
I think a key is what you just said. When things aren't moving like they should, it's our perception of what they should.
Yes.
And what if that's not the way they should be?
Yeah.
What if they are playing out exactly as they're meant to be? We don't see it. And so for me, mindset is huge, because you can be the richest, most successful person in the world and be miserable. And you can also be someone who recognizes their blessings, recognizes the privileges that they have in their life with family, with food, with comfort, we have electricity, we have Wi-Fi, we have solar power. We're fine.
Right.
But we're used to it.
Yeah.
And it's not until those things are gone, or if something changes, where we really stop and say, oh, I actually am very, very lucky. We live in the best country on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
We have amazing freedoms and rights, and we have the ability, if we choose to, work hard and educate ourselves in whichever way we decide to succeed and to do incredible things. Mm-hmm. And so I think knowing that, and also shifting the focus. It's not about you. I am not the person who's going to sit there and be like, oh, this was really, really hard. Because for me, that gives far too much influence to something that's already happened. I can't change it. The only thing I can control is what I'm going to do next, and making the next best choice. And you know what? I can do that. But it's when we stew and think on, I should have done this, I could have done this, I didn't do this, this was wrong. Maybe it was. You can own that. That doesn't mean that you're discounting it or being like, well, that didn't happen, that wasn't a big deal. No, it probably was a big deal. We've all made massive mistakes.
Yeah.
But we also give them far too much influence on our future. And if we walked around like a little child does, I don't know about you, but my kids, I can be a monster all day and just, terrible, bad mood, screaming, yelling, why don't you? I can be terrible to them, and it will be bedtime, and they come up and they cuddle me and they, kiss me on I love you so much, mommy. You're the best mommy in the world. They're not thinking about, well, she was terrible earlier and she called me a slob, and they're thinking about the moment.
Yeah.
They just want us to be happy. They just want to be happy.
Yeah.
I've never met a 6-year-old who's like, do you remember last month? Wow. I really made a bad decision. That is going to affect my life. No, they're on. Not only are they on in the present, they're on to the future. They're like, and it's going to be Christmas. It's like, nope, that was last month. It's going to be Christmas in 10 months, honey. They don't care.
Yeah.
They are living for the future. And also, like children, take the focus off yourself. Make the next best choice. And I think as we focus on those things, we can make a really great choice.
Yeah.
If we just sit back and look at things as they are, not colored by what has happened. It has happened. It is over. Let it go. Mm-hmm. Like my teenage niece always says, like, build a bridge and get over it. Do it though. That doesn't negate the fact that there are days where it's hard. There are days, especially for me and for those who did not see the other one I was on. My husband became disabled with a balance disorder in his brainstem after getting COVID in 2020. And He cannot drive, cannot work, cannot get off the couch 85% of the day. And so we sold a brand new custom designed home that was our forever home. And we're selling our business. And we moved across the country to start something new, to find new opportunities, especially for his healing. And he's not 100% better. And so there are definitely days where I'm like, did I ruin their lives? I took them away from their family and the only school they've known and their neighborhood. And I took them away from everything. Did I totally screw up? But that's when I'm making it about me. Did I screw up?
Yes.
Did I do this? No, the fact is that after 2 years of doctors and not knowing and different research things that, constantly like, am I going to have a husband? Is this terminal? Is he, at one point it was like, oh, it's a stroke. It could be cancer. It could be something it could be MS. It could be ALS. And when you're able to say, okay, but that's over, I still have him. Yeah. It is different. Different doesn't mean bad.
Yeah.
Different just means different.
Right.
But with different comes new opportunities.
Yeah.
With different comes new ways to grow and learn. And people can say, oh, I already know that. Well, if you already know that, then you're either not acting on it or you're not really putting much attention to it.
Yeah.
You may know it in your head. There's a lot of things we know in our head, like, hey, I should get up every morning and pray and work out and do yoga. We all know that. How many people are actually doing it?
Yeah.
And that's where on those days consistency comes in. As I have a very strict morning routine, my triplets are trying to institute it into their life, which is hilarious. It's for those hard days. I don't do it every day because I love it every day. Mm-hmm. But it is that practice of up at 4:40, prayer, scripture, herbal tea. I cannot read scripture or personal development books without herbal tea. I just can't. But I do these things on the good days so that on the bad days, that consistency and that discipline pulls me through. Because once I've done that, things are 20 times better. Because it's like I've set myself up to succeed.
Yeah.
I've gone to the gym. On good days, I get to sit in the sauna. It's amazing. I love me a sauna. But I've set myself up in the best way I can. The biggest thing is like, there are days where you spend a lot of time in prayer. Yeah. And whether you are a person of faith, like me and Kimberly, or you subscribe to the universe, there is something bigger than us that is guiding us and wants us to succeed and wants us to do our best. No one, and I will equate it to a parent because I believe that we are children of God. We never say, oh, this is going to stink for them. I hope it really is bad. Yeah. Not how we want our kids to learn. Yeah. And most of the time this is going to be hard.
Yeah.
Oh, but they made this decision.
Yeah.
And I can't step in and fix it because I need them to learn.
Yeah.
And we sit there and it's usually harder on us than it is on them, which I feel like my parents said that. I was like, whatever, you grounding me for going to Denny's at 2 a.m. is not hard on you. True story. But it is when our kids make those decisions and we see them hurting and they live those consequences. Yeah. I feel like that's what our Heavenly Father, that's what God is, where it's, I need you to be more, not for me, for you. Mm-hmm. Things are going to happen that are out of our control. Life will happen and it is hard.
Yeah.
And there is challenge, but we can learn and we can grow and we can take those things to become a new, better version of ourselves.
100%. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. A couple of things you said, it's all about the perspective that you take. I think of what that challenge is. Is it, does it take you to the negative, or can you say, yep, that was bad, hated that, and don't want to do it again? How can we move forward? Right. It's a totally different feel versus why did that happen to me? Like, why, and kind of living in that self-pity. And then you talked about, getting out of your head, or, getting the focus away from yourself. And I think it was Tim Tebow when I first heard this kind of thought, and is when you're feeling helpless, get helpful, and kind of taking it outside of yourself and helping someone else. And it just gives you that break, that pause to really get back to that thought of like, okay, yeah, it really wasn't that bad. I'm not going to die, whatever, how the worst case scenario that you had building up in your head probably isn't going to happen. And you have more perspective, giving that space and that time between the event and the reflection also can be helpful as well.
Well, and I think getting to a place of, it's very hard to tell someone who's really struggling, well, you just need to be positive.
Right. 100%.
They want to punch you in the face.
Yeah.
It is like, you should hit me right in the throat. Do it. But there is a way where it's like, if we can just clear out the negative thoughts, we can get to like just a baseline, just a neutral place where it's like, you don't have to go from everything's terrible, I hate my life, to this is amazing, I love it. You're not going to get there.
No, correct.
But if you can turn off the negativity, and something I've been doing, which I just read a book by a sports psychologist, which, okay, the book was amazing. There was too much sports in there for me because I'm like, I don't know what this pass means. But they hire him to basically get players to neutral. Because if they, fumble something and it loses a Super Bowl, they're not going to be like, yeah, that was probably really awesome because in the future, no, that's not no. But if it's like, that happened, it stinks.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean it's ever going to happen again.
Right.
If we can just get to the place where we take out the negativity, and he pointed out, and it's something I have not thought of because it's one of those frog in the pot of boiling water, how much of what we watch, listen to, and consume is negative.
Yeah.
And so I'm doing a challenge with my kids where I'm like, no negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's interesting, once you start looking for it, how many television shows are the kids disrespectful to the parents, and the parents treat each other poorly?
Yeah.
How many, like, you can't listen to any country music if you want positive vibes in your life, because it's like, my wife left, my tractor broke, my beer's empty. You can't listen to that and be happy. So I'm creating a positive vibes only playlist. But just things like that, where it's like, if you listen to that all day, mm-hmm. My wife left, my life is over, my wife left, you can't then be like, I'm feeling really great today.
Right. Yep.
But we don't think about it.
Yeah.
So uplifting music and those things that inspire us, mm-hmm. Uplifting music, uplifting like art, whatever just makes you feel inspired, mm-hmm. Be around those things.
Yeah.
Go out in nature, touch grass.
Yes.
Also, like, it's far easier to practice gratitude when you don't have these negative thoughts in your head, mm-hmm. saying, oh, but this is hard. Yeah, it is. Yeah. I acknowledge it. I take responsibility for it. Good or bad, that's what happened. Yeah. But that doesn't have to be today.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So if we can just get outside the negativity and reframe what we're making things mean, getting out of those limiting perspectives. And like Tim Tebow's helpless, if you get more helpful, this Trevor Moawad who wrote this book, it's called Takes What It Takes. And he said, if you are hopeless, you are hopeless. So if you don't have that hope, if you can't find a way to see something better, you are hopeless. Because you can't move or take action or do anything if you have no hope for yourself. If you can't find that hope or see that hope in the world around you, it is hopeless.
Yeah.
There's no coming back from that. So if we can get the negativity out and find the hope, and it's there.
Yeah.
It is harder to find the negativity, but it's there.
It's harder to find the positivity. You mean?
Yeah. Yeah. It's harder to find than negativity. Negativities.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's harder to find. Yeah. Positivity is, but it's all there.
Yeah.
It's all just what we're looking for.
Yeah.
We will find whatever we look for.
Exactly. And I think that's the biggest thing, that reticular activating system, like what you feed it, you will find more of, and I mean, I do my journaling and I write down those things that I have that I'm working for, and I read it every day. I write it every day, and I voice text it to a friend. So I hear myself saying it every day, because then it's like, it's getting in that subconscious. It's getting there. It may not be working just yet, but it's getting there. And my brain's starting to look for all those little connections. Right. So yeah, I love that. And you're right. When we can kind of get out of our own way, sometimes that's just what we need to do. Just get out of our own way. Right. So as we start wrapping up today, I want to know what's next for you. What can we see coming? Where are things going? If you want to share, if you don't, we'll just put a little pin in that one. I like back to it.
Super villain hands. I'm writing a keynote for speaking on stages. I'm focusing on finding the potential and finding that new version of you, and how it's almost always underneath the hard. So drawing on experiences from my life and what I've gone through and things that I have found that have helped me to go from I'm stuck, I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, to, oh, I'm making well into the 6 figures. I've started a whole new career. I live in a whole new place. I have this whole new life, which doesn't mean things are perfect. But I'm finding what I'm looking for. So I'm writing a keynote for that. I'm speaking at some digital summits that are, around here with different women's groups. The Trailblazers group is on Facebook. I'm one of the founders of that, and we are doing retreats and one-day conferences coming up where we're just teaching women not just to be investors, but we focus on them as women first. We are women first. We are investors second, because you can be great at investing, but everything else in your life is hard. But if you feel really good about yourself, who you are personally, professionally, emotionally, mentally, you're going to be great at everything.
Yeah.
So our goal is to really build women up, collaborate with each other. We're doing a lot of different projects with each other. We're going to be doing some mini courses and bringing in women, not only in the real estate industry, but the mindset industry, to come and coach and speak to the women in Trailblazers and just be able to help us all just be better.
Yeah.
And do it together.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
Okay. So good things are coming. I'm so excited. Awesome. Okay. Well, before we let you go, remind us where we can find you and how we can follow you. Where can we go?
I'm on Instagram, Karianne Klomp. I'm on Facebook, but I do far more Instagram. Yeah. Okay. My website is under construction.
Okay, no worries. Okay, well, we'll find you on Instagram.
It is linked through Instagram.
Okay, perfect. We will find you and follow you. Guys, so Karianne, thank you so much for being here. You are always a joy, and you have so much gold. You just dropped all this stuff for us. It was fantastic. So thank you very much. We'll have you back. You will be my returner, because I'm loving this. And
I am the what is it? The thing that comes back? You throw. Australia.
Boomerang.
I can't remember. Boomerangs. I'm a boomerang.
I love it. I love it. It's fantastic. You go out and you bring more things back, and
there you go.
Share it with us. More experiences, more knowledge, more good things to come. I love it. So I'm excited to see how things unfold for you in this next season. Wish you the best of luck. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in today. Have a great one, and we'll see you next time.